Hello.
It works now.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Please take a seat, take your places, or you can sit if you want to. Welcome to our third Behind the Code Meetup, being hosted by Exness. We are so excited to have all of you with us tonight, and we have an amazing set of speeches and speakers. We're going to discuss some of the latest trends and developments from information security field, of course, as usual on the meetups. And there is also one important point that please get involved during the meetup, because each speaker will pick up 2 best questions from all of you, and of course we will award them with the with the wonderful prizes. So let's get started and dive into the world of information security field. If it goes, yeah,
Lights.
So, our first speaker. Generally, as a company, you want to be sure that all of the data of your clients is protected. And companies purchasing tons of different hardware, software, and other stuff, but they forget that companies still have a vulnerability called people. Our first speaker is a true expert in the field of social engineering and ready to explain how it works under the hood. Please join me in welcoming Andreas Lincoln to the stage.
Adiós. Το μικρό. Το μικρό μας πεις. Είσαι τέλος. Ανδρέα μου, δάμε.
Okay. Gentlemen, good evening. Before we start, I want to try a little brain experiment. Try topic 3. So if you are holding your drinks or mobile phone, please place them down. So hold your hands up in front of you like this. Try to keep them away from the ears of the person that is sitting in front of you. So twist your wrist so your arms are facing outwards. Place your right hand over left hand and clasp your fingers so your thumbs are facing the floor. Yeah, like this lady is doing right here, right? So this will be interesting. Let's see how many of you can do what I'm about to do. So 3, 2, 1. Twist your wrist so your thumbs are facing the ceiling. Okay, no one? Okay. Try not to break your hands. Okay. So what are we going to talk about today? When I decided the topic that I wanted to talk about, I didn't want to just only talk about the standard like phishing, what is phishing, what is phishing, what is social engineering. I want to get more behind the science and how social engineering work on us as people. So we're going to talk about a little bit about the science and how humans are vulnerable to hacking techniques. So before we start, let's define what is social engineering. Every time I looked it up, there were only videos of how to get free burgers at McDonald's or how to pick up kids. So in my opinion, and through my research, what I found, the most accurate definition is the act of influencing someone to take an action that may or may not be in their best interest. So let's get behind the science.
Wait. Wait now. One back.
Okay. So to understand how we make, to understand what is behind the science, and to how we make decisions, we need to understand a few aspects. So the first aspect is dopamine. Dopamine is released in our brain and helps us make decisions. So when we feel trust, when we feel liking, when we feel love, this chemical is released in our brains, and we feel happy, we feel positive, and we feel confident with the decisions that we make. So in physical security assessment, an employee is thinking there is no way to let anyone plug in a USB on my machine, but willingly he does it because of the emotional relationship that was built from the attacker, and also he was able to get his brain to release dopamine. The next aspect that affects our actions is oxytocin. Oxytocin affects women when after they give birth. Researchers, they say that they see it a lot more often, but it's just really hard to be captured. And the reason for that is that oxytocin, when it's released, it's alive only for a few minutes. So they found that oxytocin is released during childbirth and during breastfeeding. And also when interacting with people that you find that you really like. Also when interacting with people that you really like on social media. And when interacting with people that you find attractive. And here is the big one, when interacting with people that you feel that they trust you. It's not that you trust them. It's not that I make you trust me. It's me making you believe that I trust you. So if I were to say that I have a secret and I wanted this room to know, but I haven't told anyone yet, and you were to believe me, then oxytocin is released to your brain, and I am your drug dealer. So the third aspect is amygdala, and I think the most influential one, and it helps us understand how we fall victims to this kind of attack. So the amygdala hijack. In our brains, we have there are two amygdala, small walnut-shaped, that they have specific functions in our brains. Our five senses, they take external stimuli, and they all get processed through the amygdala before our brain kicks in. So think of this, you are walking through your yard, and let's say you are deathly afraid of snakes. With your with the corner of your eye, you think you see a giant black snake. What happens? You get a fear reaction. You reel back, you breathe in, and then your brain catches up. And then the fear reaction goes away. Your brain says you are safe, you don't need to run, you don't need to fight or flight, you can just laugh about it and move on because it was just the garden hose, your wife left it out. So to combine all this stuff, we will talk about the different types of social engineering. So the first one is phishing. This is all email-based attacks. This is the main attacks that we see. 87% of all attacks, they involve phishing emails. Phishing, if you can't believe it, this is a real word. It's 2015, and you can look it up in the Oxford Dictionary. It stands for voice phishing, and it involves someone calling you over the phone. Next one, this is the SMS phishing. And don't see much, but we have an increase the last 2 years. And last one, this is involves someone, and it's the least used one, and it involves someone to be actually and physically to be at your organization. And it can cause the most damage if the attacker succeeds. It is more common. Now let's watch a video showing a hacking technique, and this is a social engineering over the phone.
Does it have sound? Why do it have sound?
Information, their data, their state use, maybe I'll call your cell phone provider, see if I can get them to give me your email address.
I bet they're good. I bet they have my back. But yeah, no.
Maybe I'll call my sorry.
The next photo shows another member of our team. He was pretending to be an employee from a printing paper company delivering paper. So he managed to trick the security guard into giving him an access card that could access all the floors of the building. So he roamed into all the floors. He found unattended machines. He plugged in the testing USB. He took 4 pictures and also found again yellow sticky notes with passwords. The other 2 photos, we can see the Raspberry Pi connected on the network, and we were pretending to be third-party IT members, and we showed up because the internet was slow, and we tried to help and fix the internet. And the last one is a desktop that we managed to acquire because another floor needed the desktop, and we got the desktop and left the building. Last one, and this is my favorite one. There was this organization that nobody could get in. So I got a piece of paper. I printed on top the logo of the company. I wrote underneath, "Please keep the door open. Thank you very much." I signed it with a fake signature with the HR department underneath, and I stick it to an exit door, to a fire door. Also, I placed a wooden stick there because the door would close, so they can use that to keep it open. So here we see that people respect authority. So if you're working in an organization, you follow the rules of the organization. So if they tell you to leave the door open, you leave the door open. So I waited a few minutes. A guy comes out, he sees the sign, and he just wedges the door open. And then a few more guys came out. They saw the first guy ignoring the door open. So they ignored the door open, and that's how I got it.
Yes.
So now remediation. So because you don't have security in your title, it doesn't mean that you are not a target. So how we protect ourselves and how we protect our organizations. First of all, accept you are at risk. Second, security awareness. Educate your employees regarding security. Maybe your employees, maybe they are good at identifying phishing emails, but maybe they lack physical security awareness. So teach them what is physical security, and show them what security protocols they need to follow for your organization. The third one, and I see a few people here that they fall victim of this attack, of this scam. So before transferring money or information, verify by voice or by a video call. And last one, create actionable policies. What does that mean? And actually, this is, I saw it at the client. This was their phishing email policy. Do not click on bad links. Sounds good, right? No, it's not. Let me tell you what. Have you identified to your employees what is a bad link? And if they click a bad link, what should they do? Should they inform someone? How do they report it? So you need to create policies actionable, clearly defined, and understandable by your employees. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Andreas, a lot. Thanks for this speech. So now it's time for the Q&A session. And just a kind reminder that we'll pick two bad questions to give some awards, some prizes, and other stuff. Any questions? Yeah, we have one. Nice.
Which microphone? So it's number one.
Second one.
Yes. So in this example with the door open, how can we be protected from the intrusion?
Also, another member of you need to educate your employees, or you need to educate yourself to follow the rules of the company. So if the organization didn't tell you to leave the door open, don't leave it. I mean, company will not tell you to leave the door open for sure. So you have to think logically and but regarding the door.
And close the door behind you, right?
Yeah.
We have another question. So please room, Mike.
So in regards to the same scenario, how do you know the format of the sign that you put? So you have the stamp, you have the signature, where those was stored in the company was random signatures, random stamps.
No, I didn't know any format. I just got the logo of the company. The logo of the company you can find it easily of any company on the internet.
But on the bottom right, you had the stamp and the signature.
It was fake. It was a fake stamp, a fake signature, and everything was fake.
Thank you.
Very nice picture, Andreas.
Thank you.
So how do you know every time it's working with emotions, you know? Because it's all about emotions in the end of the day.
Λίγο σκοτεινά.
How it's working every time.
It doesn't work every time.
Δεν στο τίνια.
We have like 75% of success. So sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. We try our best, we get more experience, so we know how to talk to a security guard, how to talk to someone at the company, and we improvise most of the time when we are there.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks in all mind.
I think the presentation was really interesting. On the matter of open doors, is it possible to get rid of the problem altogether? I mean, there is always will be someone who would like to open the door, nice, feel emotions, something like that. Have you seen companies that got rid of the open door problem altogether? I mean, if you're working in the co-working for the whole time, you treat basically as open space that accessible to everyone, not just to your company. And strictly speaking, if you will treat your own office as the working space, which will be accessed by anyone, you probably will not have this problem at all. So it doesn't matter who will enter your office. If there's nothing they can do to steal the data, it's not a problem.
Okay, if I understood well, you're asking how would you eliminate the door factor? Or
Yes, I'm asking about the eliminating the problem, not the consequences of the problem. You should not treat symptoms.
yeah, to eliminate this factor, you need a security guard is the best option. If you have a security guard to verify each one that is accessing the door, then you eliminate this factor. So if he had asking for IPs, a web permit, and all of that, then it eliminates a good point this factor.
Because
That
it's
was your question, or
Can I leave it?
Sorry, this is standard. So anyone that is aware of this one point they install iron doors, eye scanners, and what else they can do. But my question was, have you seen the companies that got rid of the intrusion programs altogether? If you intrude to the company, can you make your environment work in the way that intrusion will not pose a threat?
Yeah, that would be lock your PCs. If you lock your PC, then you cannot see what is on the PC. I mean, if I cannot access. Also, cleanliness policies. So if you are not having like passwords on the desk and everything, then no one can see passwords. But the intruder, maybe he finds a way to access the organization, but he will not find anything. So if they ask you to open the server room for a check, if he is not the IT or if you don't know him, you will not open the server room to show him the servers. So it's all about education of the employees and security awareness.
Thank you. Any other questions? I think we will have one or two more questions, and others possibly will go by the text and can be discussed with people here.
Congrats on the presentation. My question is, do we have any numbers with how many incidents we face here in Cyprus or worldwide, and how many companies they put an effort to solve this issue by training themselves?
Not many companies they put an effort for social engineering and physical security. They have CCTVs and maybe a security guard, but that's all. And the numbers, what I saw, and the success rate of our team is around 75% success.
Okay, so it's a huge. Thank you. Thanks, and one or two more over here.
Are you afraid of ML, machine learning, as a scammer or social engineer? So, for example, what if 5 years there's facial recognition at every door or other biometric points that are possible for people to hack in anywhere? Or if these technologies are able to monitor all the time, what do you do?
In Cyprus, we don't have these recognitions yet, but we'll think of that in a few years when in Cyprus, no one uses this kind of technology yet at organizations, so we don't run into that trouble yet. Maybe in a few years, we will find something about that.
Thank you so much for your questions. I think others can be asked after them. Meetup at all. Thank you, Andreas, a lot. Thank you. So I have to do something with this. Just give me a second, please. Okay. So I think all of your companies have policies, but you want to be sure that these policies are applied and other stuff, right? They implemented in the right way, and the stuff that is described as the policy is being happened in real life. And of course, most of you probably think that it should and can be automated, right? And next speaker, Dennis Ruben, who will be speaking to us about the policy sections, will discuss and tell us how it's possible to do. Please give him a welcome to, so please give him a welcome because he is getting the stage now.
I know.
Perfect. Let's start. So, hello everyone. Let's talk about policy engines. First of all,
Sorry, coming now.
how to get the slide. Okay. Oh. Get back, please. Perfect. So my name is Dennis Raven. Currently, I'm working at stage lead at the Drive. Drive is kind of big company with a lot of high water, blah blah blah. So I have 9 years of speech experience, and I be fan of speaking conferences. So our agenda, yes. We will discuss 3 questions. First of them, what do we want to achieve as a security team? Second is what is the concept of policy engines, and third one is what has already been done in this direction. Let's start with first. So, any ideas? What is our main goal, our objective? Can anyone say something about it? Make this clear. Yeah, make it have a sense. So it's a very discutable question, but I believe a lot of you will say something about confidentiality, integrity, and it. Yeah, they say it right. Everyone read about it. Everybody know it. So, but let's discuss something more tangible, something easy to understand, and it's keep it simple. Our test will be allow what necessary and forbid what is not. Yeah, it's pretty simple. Everybody can understand it. And I believe someone will say this is principle of least privilege. Yeah, it's it. So then everything is pretty easy. If we could comply with it, it would be having to do anything else. Yes. So that's how security should work. But we failed very badly in this, unfortunately. If in case if you need some proofs, yeah, just look at application security trends, and you will see things like background programs. This means we don't believe that our policy writing correctly, and the trends in depth, and we don't believe our policy will work forever. And security operation standards means that we doesn't believe that it can be bypassed. So it's really big delay. So we don't believe our policy work. That's it. Any ideas why? Anyone? No one. It's certainly not our fault. Let's start with this. So, Cloud thinks that IT department is to blame. Their system are too abstract, too volatile, too depressing people. That's okay. Yeah, I looked up too. I think it's pretty close to our problem. But
to be on that from the screen, it's like
the structures and they now have some things like modern safety defaults, like defaults, etc. Now they have more and more demanded pre-testing and some things like Scrum and Kanban and other methodology to help them to be to have very good performance. So now we have a lot more opportunities. And now let's discuss the second part of my speech. What is the concept of a policy engine? Let's discuss three theses. First of them is policy decoupling, second is policy as code, and third one is that policy analysis isn't just a typical purpose tool, but what are we used to? We used to things like tables, rules, middle lists, zero drop roles and permissions, and a lot of other embedded built-in centralized policy mechanisms, but nothing really universal. So policy companies offer up universal rule language and single point of decision making. On the picture, you can see, maybe someone can.
It's sorry.
That it's pretty easy to understand that there is some kind of services which just querying our engine on this OPA, and OPA using policies and data can make a decision just like true or false. So it's pretty easy the way ever, yeah. Second part is policy as code. So same cursor there.
You press something on the.
We need a cat to catch it. So
Don't turn off the PC.
never mind. So yeah, everything we love about codes. Version control, hyperstability, programming friendly, declarative, easy to test, and so on. Don't need any special explanation why we love everything that's code. So maybe
It's from him.
okay.
He enables something.
Maybe yes, maybe not. Okay. So let's have a sneak peek. I did not explain. Okay, back. I click twice back, waiting. One more time.
Looks like a sample the break, right? Just give me this. I will try to do something.
I can stay closer to the PC. Okay. Unfortunately, I don't have a dance for you. So just wait.
Maybe you have a joke.
Not in this language. But
I understand you.
But he can ask me to press next slide.
We can just, start with the next slide, please. If you're comfortable with.
okay, let's try. So, sneak peek about some policy language. First of all, there is. Can you get one slide back? It's not back. Yes. Okay. First of all, let's think about sectional language. It's policy language that used by H4 to their products. So you can see pretty simple rule about validation time. So in case of someone who try to access some systems in the different time they should work, it can reject this request. Next slide, please. Yeah, and there's other language, Rego, which is by OPA, which stands for Open Policy Agent. So this rule is just checking something else. It's
really doesn't matter. If, like just a sample was next slide. Yeah, and third part was that this policy engine is not just a single purpose tool, it's a new picture. You can see a lot of screenshots from a lot of blogs of a lot of companies you can recognize, I believe. All of them write something about policy as code and policy engines. Now, so it's kind of huge. Next slide. And our last part is what has already been done in this direction. Next slide. So let's start. Let's start our discussion in the reference architecture. So in case we can do something by ourselves, we can understand here. Let's look at four basic components of any policy engine. First of them is policy administration point, which manage authorization policies. Second one is the decision point, which relate access request against authorization policy before issuing a decision. And then enforcer. Enforcer accept user access request to authorities. Pretty easy, yeah, it's enforced policy. And information policy allow us to get more data, attributes, and values to make our decision. Next slide. So on this picture, there's some reference architecture and use case of it. So there's someone who want to view record 1 to 3. When he sends a request, it's intercepted by enforcer. The server will ask our decision-making point, can at least view record 1 to 3. Decision-making evaluate our policy and retrieve additional attributes, and make decision, permit or not. And there is administration point, which allow us to manage our policy, change something, to off, etc. Next slide. So let's talk about OPA. It's the most powerful representative of the policy engines, by the way, it's open source. On the left picture, there is OPA ecosystem. So there's kind of a lot of companies with which can use OPA or depends on OPA. And on the right side, there's a shot about this. OPA was created as CNCF Foundation project, and that's mean they pretty major work now, and you can try to use it in your production environment. That's kind of enterprise rating, if you want. Next slide. So when I start talking about OPA, a lot of people say, yeah, Kubernetes, right? No, kind of no, because OPA is not about Kubernetes. It's general purpose policy engine, but there's two called OPA Gatekeeper, and it is. So OPA Gatekeeper is about Kubernetes, OPA generally not. So you could and maybe should use policy engine like OPA Gatekeeper, Kyberna, Warden, or etc. what you want in your Kubernetes, but OPA is much more than that. Next slide. So, by the way, the reference architecture can be seen in the OPA Gatekeeper architecture. You can see there is on the right side each controller, which part of Kubernetes. It's like an enforcement policy point. Then it asks something from the source of our decision making, which is PTP, which can be OPA Gatekeeper. Constraints which OPA use for like as their policy is the policy repository and can be managed by GitHub, for example, and be part of administration point, which will be part of administration point. And there is a lot of resources in Kubernetes which can be achieved by OPA to make decisions. So it's kind of hardware information point. Next slide. let's discuss some examples of interesting use of OPA. I believe everyone knows that OPA can be used for several firewall, decision making, and some kind of Kubernetes infrastructure as code, scanner, and enforcer. But let's discuss something more interesting. First of all, there's the campaign. Allow to write text against structured and eight-factor fetch data. This is by OPA procedure to query language. So, for example, any of your Terraform or Ansible or something else. In this case, you have SPDX document about some kind of software, and under that we have regular rule which check license information and can allow or decline our software package in case of need. Next slide. Other interesting use case of OPA is OPAL, which stands by Open Policy Administration Layer. There's some guys who wrote it. It's like extension of OPA, which adding PubSub logic to OPA, which allow to achieve a real-time speed of verification of our rules and data. So you can use OPAL for some interesting things. Next slide, please. For example, some guys wrote OPA toggles, which it enables you to create user-targeted feature flags toggles based on OPA managed utilization rules. So it's intended because you can use OPA not only for security purposes, but for some product development stuff. Next slide. And last one, there's some guy who wrote OPA tables, which extend provides the management of tables rules future regular policy. Whereas OPA is used as a centralized application for storing rules and writing and test on the policy insert the rules to Linux code. It's funny because now we have policies to manage our policies. Yeah, need more policies in our world, I believe. So next slide. That's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis. Do we have any questions? Okay.
Nice speech. What is the relationship between policy engine and cloud built-in identity or management policies?
I believe you can use OPA in your cloud, like case of use, for example, Terraform, and you have your infrastructure stuff. You can use OPA to decide which should be deployed or not.
But would it duplicate the policy strategy Terraform? They also describe the.
Yeah, there's a lot of built-in instruments, and of course, if you want to use some of it, it will be kind of duplication.
So can I use only OPA with some kind of agent, which would, for example, with the
I don't know. I don't work with Kubernetes a lot, so we can check it. And I believe there should be some kind of integration. If extend that policy engines.
So probably for now, the user should speak with the cloud tools and
just manage the telecom operation with the OPA?
It depends how you make your infrastructure. So yeah, cloud is always about vendor. It can be hard to use something other than they give you from the box.
Of course, you and then you stick with them.
Can you say louder?
You will stick with the built-in tools in the cloud, but you could manage it in different ways, of course. In the OPA or in Terraform. Is it better for now to stick with Terraform and manage the Terraform rules through OPA?
It depends what you want to achieve. So if you want something like universal language and one point of trust and one point of making decision, I believe Opera will be better.
Okay, but then we need to ensure that there is an agent which is integrated with.
Yeah, of course, you should get support your technology.
Thank you. The next question.
So basically two parts. Firstly, can I use this OPA project to implement like generic permissions, my application or whatever, or is it infrastructure oriented?
No, it's as they say, general purposes. So you can use it for everything you want. You can route any of your own systems and integrate it with API as policy engine. It will be just like API with, will receive true or false, and you give it a lot of information from village song for some period to make this decision. Just write it for regular rules.
Okay, this is one. The other one, in your opinion, what should be the, because every new tool you use has a penalty also. So, in your opinion, what should be like the size of the team of the organization in order to benefit from something like that, instead of going like something simpler?
Yeah,
it sounds to me like complex.
I think it should be pretty large because in the small size, it's easier to use something native. And in case of you need something scalable enough to really big organization with really big infrastructure, and you have a small team, I believe OPA can be a good option for it.
Thank you. And the next question is.
So on the last slide where you show the OPA IP tables, are you trying to, it's supposed to be used to?
It should be. Sorry, go closer.
The OPA IP dynamically updated
In this case, there's some guy who wrote through the Zoom. Just want to check which rules will be inserted or deleted on some cost. So he used to pay agent to make decision which rule, if it is rule, will be or will be not inserted on this cost. In case of someone want to, for example, drop all rules and make some internal service achievable from the internet, something like that. So it's not a check. It's not like network policy. It's policy for checking network policy. In that case.
The next question.
Yeah, thank you, Denise, for a very comprehensive speech.
about policy engines, and I also have two parts question. The first one is, what do you think is it possible maybe to replace some current security technologies which we use nowadays by policy engines? Is it possible, or it's quite new technology? In case of which you can replace all of your role-based access controls by the OPA, and maybe it will be more comfortable to use OPA than some built-in instruments. The source, and I don't know what you want to replace, but you can use it in your CI/CD environments to some kind of quality gains, for example, replace what you use now. Okay, thank you. And second part is, if we talk just about Kubernetes, just your opinion, what do you think, which policy engine is better and why? There's a tricky question, because I believe Kubernetes is better, because Kubernetes rules, it's pretty simple. But OPA is more powerful, and as I said, it's good when you use OPA like a single point of trust and a single point of decision making. So in case of only for Kubernetes policy engine, maybe Kubernetes is better. But in case you want something to roll them all, so there's no chance to use Kubernetes for something else than just Kubernetes. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you for the speech. It's given me really a lot room for food of thought. My question is, just please correct me if I'm wrong. The OPA is basically a restricted tool, so you can create a policy that will restrict something unwanted to happen. But if you would like to create a policy that will build something like build infrastructure that is compliant with the policies, you have to use a different tool for that. Yes, it's presentation is just a decision point. So it's not even an enforcer. You should have something to enforce your policy. As I said, it's just two-fold API, which can set what should be allowed and shouldn't be allowed. So yeah, you can use it for. You can use it for building something, and you can use it for enforcing. Because it does check group. If we talk about enforcement, this is somewhat similar like telecom providers. So, are there enforcers like telecom providers you use from some kind of registry to use the infrastructure that is not?
I don't know if infrastructure of our company a lot. I'm more about security and some firewalls and something more about ourselves. But as I know, we are still working with you. Are we using something like Terraform enforcement? He said yes, so I believe we use it.
Okay. The last question, if we have any.
Hello, thank you very much. Can you please tell me what is the role for policy engineering in a particular organization?
Yes.
Can you please explain what is the role of policy engineering in a particular organization?
Sorry, I don't get you. Let's talk about it behind the scene. You want? Okay.
there's no problem with this live incident to achieve some centralization, I believe. So it's a universal language. You don't know a lot of technologies, a lot of syntaxes for any of your instrument, like Terraform, what you use for role-based access and such. You can learn something about rigorous and make rigorous for it. I believe it's kind of simpler, maybe, and take less your time.
Thank you so much for your questions. Thank you, Denise, for this amazing speech. The speaker destroyed the microphone. The second one destroyed the clicker. What will the next? I hope at least we will see the slides. So I think tons of you are using some huge companies to as house providers on other services. And it's not a secret that this company is just selling our data to get money and other stuff. Up next, we have Marios Sakidis, who will show us the project that allows you additionally protect your privacy. Please give a round of applause for him. Yeah, come on.
Introduction, and for the opportunity to talk about information security in Amazon. So, yeah. And the title of the presentation is Unlimited ID. Actually, there are a few clicks. There are many clicks to get here.
Let's try this.
So,
You sure about that?
yeah, I mean, worst case scenario is like that.
CM has gone this weekend.
Yeah, so it is Unlimited ID is a protocol and a privacy enhancement for data management that sits on protocols like OAuth and SAN, for those who are familiar with it. And it is our comeback to the big companies that are trying to, while offering a very usable and important service, also keep track of us and even steal our data with that we sell with other services we connect to. I promise I did not steal the slide from Dennis, but my name is Marios Sakidis. I'm a PhD candidate at the University College London, the Information Security Group. I have a few years of experience as a technical lead in agile teams across Europe and North America. And nowadays I'm based in Limassol, where I serve as director at Meetup Tech, where we specialize in blockchain technologies, privacy engineering, and protocol design. And actually, this Unlimited ID is a project we developed with some colleagues in my PhD at UCL and India. Amazing. So, as an introduction to things I know, I would like to make another brief question. Here is simple.
No simple.
All right, we got one there. Just in case I confused. So then, for those people, you might be familiar with services like services like Tinder. So, and may I ask you how if you have used Tinder in the past? Hey, okay, and how did you log in? Probably the same sign online with your Facebook account. The question is, what could go wrong in that case? Any ideas?
You want to go next?
They are stealing your information. We are giving them our information, correct? Like they keep track of what services we are using, how often, what type of data they will use. Once again. So they do learn about our location when we are using Tinder. Yeah. I would like to introduce one more actually security concern that has to do with Facebook in this case, impersonating their users to Tinder. So logging in as some of their users without the user ever being involved or learning about it. For this situation, actually this is yeah, we have developed an identity. This is the goal is to fix the privacy of single sign-on, specifically the two problems that I mentioned before, while keeping compatibility with the methods of services that we use single sign-on to connect. The agenda, first of all, we're going to take a look at how single sign-on protocols work, specifically the protocol flow, and some of the use cases. We're going to introduce the privacy issues once again, and then see how the works, the design, and the properties.
Let's do.
Right. So with single sign-on, you can use your account with an identity provider to sign into different services. You might be familiar with a few of the identity providers that allow you to do so, like Dropbox, Facebook, GitHub, etc. There are actually very few interesting benefits for single sign-on protocols. First of all, they offer better usability. As a user, you don't have to type in your password or have a password with a website that you use. We can in this way we can also avoid the bad security policies, bad password policies and practices that include, for example, reusing the same password across different websites. We also reduce the attack surface, meaning that we can just rely on a few identity providers that we can trust and they do security properly, and therefore there is a smaller attack vector that somebody can hack in order to, and in this way, manage to get access to user passwords. And finally, single sign-on is very important within the organizational context. Probably we do have here people who work at the information security department companies, and you know that with single sign-on you can you have centralized control over the identity management, and all the integrations you use. Any other service, maybe Slack or that. So the single sign-on protocols, they concern three different entities and different actors. First of all, we've got the users in the middle. In this case, we're going to call the user Alice. We've got the websites that Alice wants to connect to. And the identity provider, this is the service that actually Alice will authenticate to in order to get access to that website. So in the case of the Tinder, for instance, you can see that the website, the Tinder corresponds to the website, and when you go to Facebook, Facebook is the identity provider. Taking a look at the flow now, Alice goes to the website. She gets redirected to the identity provider. She authenticates using her username and password. Like this is how single sign-on protocols work nowadays. The identity provider grants an authorization token, which is sometimes signed by the identity provider so that the website can verify it is a valid token. Alice gives that token to the website, and in this way the website can communicate directly with the identity provider to verify the identity of Alice, for instance, or even get access to some of her resources. The privacy issues, once again, to reiterate them. First of all,
Give it to me.
the identity providers can keep track of user activity, about what types of services they're using, what type of data they send with these websites, what time they're using these services, these websites, etc. And of course, they can even bypass the users and impersonate them, connecting directly to the website as the user themselves. So if you would like to learn more about the technical way, there is an academic publication back from 2016.
Back. I would.
All right, yes. That we have authored with Harry Calvin and George Amisis. And the title is Identity Privacy Preserving Federated Identity Management using algebraic maps message notification course. The protocol starts with the setup phase where Alice generates a long-term secret key. Then we move on to the phase of issuing the anonymous credentials. Alice authenticates to identity provider using her username and password, for example, and submits an encryption of her secret key. So the identity provider will never learn the secret key itself, but will only learn a commitment that Alice can later use in order to prove that that's she can use some cool things like creating the pseudonymous identities with the various websites. The identity provider now knows Alice's identity, doesn't know, of course, his secret key, but also keeps some of her information, for example, some of her attributes, like her name, her birth, the city, her email, and of course the encryption of her secret key. And we bundle all these attributes into a credential, sign it with a key that only the identity provider controls, and return it back to Alice. And you can take a look at how this process works by taking a look at the paper at the bottom right there, specifically section 4.2, which has to do with the credential issues. So if you remember in the past, let's now run the protocol as before. Alice visits the website. She gets directed to the identity provider. And now instead of logging in with her username and password, she can use this anonymous credential to do so. And therefore hide her true identity from the identity provider. So actually the scheme that we are using also supports selective attribute disclosure, which means that Alice has full control on which of the attributes that she has verified with the identity provider wants to reveal at any time that she presents her credential. In this case, Alice only is interested in revealing her date of birth, her city, and the encryption of her secret key. There is a process in which Alice can actually randomize this credential that only includes the attributes she has selected. And each randomization results in a credential that looks completely different and unlinkable from any other time she has randomized the same credential. If it's not clear at any point, we can actually give some more details on that. So using that randomized anonymous credential, Alice can now be considered like with this new symbol where she only is linked with the attributes she has chosen to reveal. The identity provider can still verify the validity of the randomized credentials. And each randomization is applicable to Alice's real identity and to any consecutive randomizations. Cool. Therefore, she now has this anonymous credential unlinkable to any other versions he has submitted in the past to the identity provider, which he can use for authenticating himself to the identity provider rather than her username and password. The identity provider will reply with a token that encodes the public attributes. Alice will then submit this token to the website. And there is another cool thing here that we introduce. We also submit a zero knowledge proof based on the secret key that Alice has control over in order to derive a long-term pseudonymous identity. And so, yeah, in order to do that, we take the secret, we raise the domain of the website, for instance, to the power of her secret key, which for the key ones here means that it's secure even against adversaries. We have unlimited, we are computationally unbounded. We have unlimited computational power. And in this way, as far as Alice has access to her secret key, she can always go back to the same website and submit a fresh zero knowledge proof, and the website can keep the result of that user ID that you see at the bottom of the page as Alice's pseudonymous identity. And depending on the policy of the identity provider, with regards to how many secrets users can get, for each of the secrets that the user can have with an identity provider means it is also the same number of different pseudonymous identities that they can have with the websites they visit. And in the same way as before, the website can just go back to the identity provider and, for example, get an authorization to access Alice's resources. Taking a look at the properties now, first of all, we managed to solve some privacy issues we identified already that have to do with tracking user activity and impersonating users. With unlimited ID, users create long-term pseudonymous identities that are only linked by the attributes they give. Security, identity providers cannot impersonate users without having access to the secret key. Our solution is interoperable with all of the libraries that are implementing all today. So there are no modifications beyond the additional check on the zero knowledge proof based on the secret key for those websites that want to protect the users from impersonation from the identity provider. And the paper that the construction that we are using for the anonymous credentials is pretty amazing. It's very efficient, and the operations only take a very few milliseconds, less than 100 milliseconds, and this workload is balanced between Israel and users. Thank you very much, and you can find
and we have a question. And we have questions. Hello, Manos. Great. How do your protocol protects from the individual attack between the user and the identity provider? Because if hacker would steal initial request and the request and the second request, then they couldn't do anything.
And we can assume that when the user is visiting the identity provider, they are using an HTTPS session. There is some verification of the credentials of the identity provider, and
Okay, just
that's enough.
Thank you. He's closer.
Thank you, Marius, for the presentation. My question is, as I understood, you are storing the user data on our site, or I'm wrong. Do you store the name, the date, and other data of the customer on your site? So there's a GDPR policy. So if a user requests to delete his data or retrieve his data, do you have this functionality?
It is not part of this protocol. I assume that the users, for example, can log in once again with their pseudonymous identity and request from the website to respect the GDPR and the right to report the data.
Good. Thank you.
Marius, thank you for the presentation. It's a really interesting protocol that we can presentations. The question is, if I understood correctly, the identity provider cannot indicate Alice without her having a secret. Is it true?
Yes.
What would you do when Alice will lose your secret?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. Just in case I'm looking for words. What we can do is Alice can go back to the identity provider, sign in with her username and password, and request a new certificate with a different secret key, with an encryption of a different secret key. And then Alice also has to somehow give her lost secret key to the identity provider, or at least a commitment to that, so that it can be included in the blacklist. And therefore, first of all, nobody else can use it anymore in case it was compromised, or if in case it was lost, Alice cannot see the identity. Yeah, in case it was not lost, Alice cannot see the identity provider and have multiple secrets with the identity provider. Because in that case, she can, for example, do a similar attack where she has multiple pseudo identities. That she can use with the various websites. Again, this is this depends on the policy of the identity provider with regards to how many identities a user can get with 30%.
Let's get to the second question. You are aiming to respect identity ability to track user when change the site. And you said that there is a security, that there is secret, not secret, but something like a hash, which is the website URL powered secret. But if identity provider generates secret, it means that he had to have something like rainbow table stored with a list of popular sites and still track the user.
So the secret key is generated by Alice and never shared to the identity provider. We only do it basically. Therefore, and then the zero knowledge proof is the URL powered to the power of the secret key. Let's take it to the
Thank you. Any other questions? The second question, what about hardware devices tokens to store the key? Is there an implementation working with UBK, for example?
With UBK and SmartLess. No, there is no implementation, but actually they are very good candidate for storing secret key users.
So if you can add multiple, from the previous question, you can add multiple keys to your account, or not?
Multiple
keys.
It really depends on the policy of the identity provider. So if they only allow you to have one pseudo identity with a website that is busy in order to protect from secret attacks, then you don't have one secret. You can of course store it in various devices.
But usually with hardware devices, they don't reveal the key, and you can store it on multiple devices. So
in their ability in protocol to for users to have multiple things?
Yes, so I don't know, we haven't tried to implement this anonymous credentials in smart cards or any such device. So it might be possible. Yes, that's very true. Thank you.
Thank you. I think that's it for the Q&A session. Thank you again for your speech. Give this one. Or okay. A small spoiler for you. If there is a don't they work? Yes. Stay here. Okay. So it is my pleasure to introduce you our next and the final for today's speaker. So he is a highly skilled cybersecurity professional and has made significant changes in his company to bring the security to the brand new level. And he is about to share some secrets. Please give a warm welcome to Roman Zhukov as he takes the stage.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Exness, for inviting me. Pleasure to be here. Let's try to do the work. Okay. As usual, okay. Thank you very much for having me again, and yes, a great slide for introduction. I'm going to walk you through today's topic, which is how to build up the security first mindset among the development team. And I believe this material will be very convenient and sufficient for everybody, actually for developers or DevOps or whatever engineers, because after that you will understand what should you expect or ask from security guys, like to have more fun basically. This spoiler. And of course, for security folks as well, probably you can find something interesting for you. Yes, thank you for introduction. My name is Roman Zhukov, and I'm a product security lead at Intel. But surprisingly, we will not talk about chips today, right? Because I'm responsible for software security, I have been managing kind of different security pillars in different organizations and builds the SDL process and etc. So the disclaimer, sorry for that, there will not be any confidential information, and any single screenshot for demonstration without any confidential information as well. Sorry for that, we'll just expect it. Some rumors or whatever. Let's kick it off. This is an agenda for today. Basically, it's about why it matters, what, and how. Please raise your hands who actually come every day to work just to receive these boring trainings into your mailbox, and so I'm excited about that. Yes, I see some persons who work every day to work just for trainings, and please raise the hands who can't work actually to do the real job, like solving big problems, like excitements and etc. Work with technology. This is super. Not so many. Anybody else just go for the lunch, maybe free lunch, right? I suppose. Okay. Let's see. It's supposed to be the next slide, right? Next slide, please.
I can't do it.
Oh, it's the previous one. Yes, this is me again. Thank you. Okay, why should we shift mindset? This is two basic examples. I don't want to overrun with all the text and data. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can see the average temperature. I think this is kind of survey, but I think it represents the average in the industry. situation. So for typically for every 100 developers, there are approximately 10 architects and one security person, usually for tech companies. Not so many, not so huge. You can ask and why? Because on the right-hand side, actually, you can see the kind of picture of the very popular framework for security development for SDL, which stands for, this is the theme which stands for security maturity models for implementing SDL, and this is the last version of this theme which contains more than 100 software security practices that all firms actually in the real world performs every day, practices all activities. So 125 versus one more security engineer. So basically that means that we or US security team might need help. And you, everybody here who engineers can get the sufficient help actually. Let's understand how I allow myself. Okay. Let's move on and how developers may think of security actually. This is a kind of examples. Security is somebody else's responsibility. How often I see this explanation? I thought the best, right? How it should go in order to security. I'm supposed to the great operation. Security is the order of back on the rules, on the policies, right? Which no guards. Security team and the tools and alliance, what I should learn of acronyms, right? So that be able to, or why shouldn't I use the simple GitHub or without any overwhelming? And we have KPI, the kind of why security, right? We are going to do with our actual business. And the last one I see in contact with other companies is the security about compliance. How often I see the question, do you allow our release? Because everybody in development just thinks about, okay, the security is only about compliance or allowing to do something. It's not true, and let's see how we break or reveal this. Let's try to move forward. Security first mindset. This is a journey, actually not a destination. What we can say about the entire security. This is path. This is culture, not a destination. And of course, here at Intel we have not built nuggets for by one day, for example. It was a long journey. But we are proud of our results. Some of them I'm happy to share. You can easily get the links for our annual reports for products security Intel, and the latest one shows this picture. Basically, the one number I would like to pay attention is over the last year, 15% of our publicly reported series were published and covered normally by Intel. Previous years we didn't have such suggest for right now we are proud that a lot of stuff we are able to find internally actually versus externally. Again, we have a huge quality program. We pay thousands of dollars for our countries, but anyways, we are proud of it. So that, of course, you may think, oh, okay, we are going to have the budget like this, right? Not so really, of course, it's how we build up the whole ATL development life cycle and all this leadership and etc. But you can do it step by step. This is kind of my own 7 pillars to foster security mindset by which practices you can leverage them to speed up, to build security first mindset in your company. And this is again for tech companies. It's a big difference because in the previous life so often I saw that security team at tech companies tries to build awareness, right? All this phishing stuff, what you do for the regular employees, like non-defense, like non-developers, and it doesn't work. Spreading it, but it doesn't work for the teams. So I wanted to highlight these 4 things at the bottom because if we talk about everything, it adds us to the hours of discussion. So these 4 ones really sounds interesting to me, and probably we can find something new for you. Let's try to move forward. Okay, the first one I will focus on security champions. This is the buzzword, and how many companies really have these roles. They have a different expectation of security champions. I would say in the mature and companies there are no just enough developer or whatever, which champion could be even not so technical person. This is secret, but anyway. There are authorities, influencers, developers, advocates, and more importantly, they actually have specific KPI between security and business, and really super important because traditionally we prefer to think, okay, we have a security team, we have a development involved, we have a security and IT, right? And this is a this kind of implemented institutional security champion can broke this rules, can inside your hands, and can have this shared responsibility. They of course help to adopt corporate policies. I mean, security champions doesn't mean that you don't have to have the security. So this is kind of business representative. And I think the most important of this role is they empower to say no. How often you as a developer actually allowed to say no to security guys? Probably not so often, because otherwise you can get, okay, you're against security. All those. So they empower to say no because they have expertise, they have some kind of experience, and they understand the goals from both sides, from business and from security perspective. Okay.
From the laptop
here. The next one, the next line, or the next pillar is make security easily accessible. This is not a big deal even for middle companies, or maybe smaller companies, established I was able to see the security portal inside security portal generally in the company, but not so often I have seen this kind of SDL 1 or 2 or point for each single engineer can answer up. I don't know, Siri or Alice, please answer my question. This is a crucial element. We need to be more transparent, right? Security is not about just we are hiding from everybody. Run the regular newsletter, be transparent again for everybody. Don't hesitate to share what they doing, why. To everybody, not only to your upper management like another thing. Encourage security addicted folks, build communities because they will be your advocates inside the open team. If you can get somebody excited, so it's it's for the long, it's forever, and others will likely listen to these guys more attentively, because they're from their teams, right? Bottom up, the good approach as well, so do not hesitate to use and to leverage, to, I don't know, to grow up new ideas inside the team, not understanding, okay, I'm a really security guy for more than 12 years of experience, so why you want something as a simple developer or who just, it's really important to support the ideas and get the ideas. And split reports, I mentioned that there should be different reports, and this is actually another point I want to call, because when you try to share your security reports, so everybody like here, this is kind of how many series or risks or whatever, who cares from engineering ones. Maybe somebody, of course, everybody definitely. Do not hesitate to make different records. Again, to be transparent, to share actually, and to help understand everybody their outcome, their commitment, their return of their investment. Smart education, cybersecurity story. This is important as well. Again, security is not an approval, rather there is a trust. And try to think of the simple experiments. Who does okay? This is all the security rules. I should follow the rules. This is very first. I wanted to build the greatest products in the world, right? Because that's why I'm coming to a job, except somebody who actually comes for lunch, right? And this is very important to point to the actual reason of why they're doing stuff, and the product should be greatest and should be appreciated by the customers, and it's all about trust, right? What else? Increase time to market. That's actually the right established security, especially in tech companies, especially for tech processes, right? This is all about DevOps, right? This is all about and actually when you implement the security gating or security metrics or whatever correctly, it will help you not to spend resources at the last time. They're simply shifting left or shifting everywhere. They're more modern trend than shifting left. Avoid doomsdays. This is very important because in the traditional security we used to say, okay, this is trillions of dollars were lost because of breaches or whatever. That doesn't work for engineering team, for any entire team. What this instead highlights the innovative part of security, the kick of building the new security tools or implementing that stuff, or figuring that out, how architecture can improve your products as a developer, right? Not to have the unexpected consequences at the last time. Again, this is really important because again, it's simple thing to understand. So the process actually usually don't care about all of this $1 trillion or whatever. We live in open worlds. This is the important thing to point out, right? Because we actually are fast developing open, and let's try to imagine if our alpha will be revealed on the top of, I don't know, yet another stuff which is actually insecure, which is better, right? It's not so good, so it's kind of ego, fostering ego of developers, and practices made better using environments. At least at the first steps, try to avoid all this kind of unusual stuff. I would point out that 18 of security controls or security stuff during the development and building and deployment would be done with native tools, like whatever you use, GitHub, GitLab, or something like that. Maybe with some portion of open source, but it doesn't necessarily, at least for the starting point. Okay. Let's, yes, this is wrapping up. Make security notable and fun. Really important topic. That's why I at the last but not least, because I'm expecting we all want to have some fun, right? It's all because without fun work it doesn't make sense. This for me, sorry, for others. Security should be the permanent part of leadership agenda. If your leaders don't talk about security, don't appreciate it, don't reveal or highlight the deliverables, it doesn't work, because every time, I mean, try to think, right? So if my boss is telling me do this or that, or this or that, it's very important for our company's customer support, you're going to do these things. So make sure your leadership actually understand that and appreciate that and right. run the recognition program. I believe for medium or big companies, you have a recognition program. All these perks, all these gifts, and etc. for the good things, and this is really great. Make it dedicated to product security, and it will be better. Highlights career advancement of security patient. Actually, this is a really good point because for the average engineer, it is a good career opportunity or career advancement to know more about security, to be exposed more out of their team, for example, or out of their company even because of doing with security, right? Company-wide competitions, boost engagement, of course. For example, Intel, this is not our ideal companies doing that, like Cisco, Microsoft. We are not all here at program. It's really good. It's really fun and different way to go to do it, but anyway, it's it helps to make these competitions to make some fun to encourage all the people to do more in security. And finally, make them out of security, the real value and for security work, because without route in our work, without understanding that it's really appreciated and recognized, nothing will work. And this is work, and the picture, the right hand side actually represents the benefits of recognition program first. It's not a big deal for the finance actually, but a really big deal for the in the right culture is like that. So that's what's pretty much is what behind the code I want to tell you, and I also invite you for the further conversation on what specifics I can share to you with the story. Questions?
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Beginning.
Thank you, Roman.
The
It
last
was
one. The
an
next
extended set of lectures that we could do, of course, and such
So this is
and well-invested company like Intel, probably it's the normal set of actions. And what about small, like family companies, micro companies, which exist in Cyprus, for example? What can
this end of
point of
service why they
set
must to
actions to promote the culture?
Yeah, I would say it's really for the smaller companies. It really depends on your entire culture because it's all moving parts, right? Your probably as a small company is not that processes are more flexible, and you can inject the secrets in this process. For example, I just built this deal and related things, including security. Mindset apart for smaller companies, and I actually used to leverage the culture because it was. I mean, it really depends. If you guys like, I don't know, to gather together and or do or even play with the PlayStation or video games or whatever, it would be rich. Even for security, so it could be Meetup, it could be some fun. Also, I mean, all the recommendations applies, but you can cut off the complexity. For example, for trading, you can use, I don't know, the external platforms that offer some kind of competitions and will do it for you. It's not so expensive actually if you just a small company you try it out, but it will really help you. At least to start and forge that. So that would be my advice. But we can talk about it more in the slides.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
By the way, before one of the microphones fell down from that.
Show them this presentation. That's
That one microphone fell down. But they are only anyway.
Can you keep is what the guys they share, what is the set goal and stuff like that?
Good, so the question again it depends on the team. If we have more info, we got the team, some kind of building of products. basically they have, obviously they have a set of KPIs like okay, the features, right? They want to build up their, I don't know, the timelines, right? Customer obligations and etc. And these are the KPIs for using for that first, because use Jingo. You should not cut off everything from that. You should be, for example, okay, we precise in our team and we pay from our budget, so that's to our goal. So I mean, if we will not succeed, you pay as well. I mean, in terms of timelines, if you make I don't know, kind of additional unreasonable boundaries. So
Thank you, Reggie.
That's why the second part, you dotted line report to the independent business part, let's say, like compliance to security. And from that part, you're going to make sure that everything is secure and etc. Actually, this is really big deal because that was totally, I don't know, totally reverse on mindset. So it gives you capability to think from, okay, how can I actually speed up the business without doing, I don't know, unreasonable things. And I have a lot of examples, not everything I can share with the mind, but when it takes you to yet another level, they start to think how to simplify and how to say reasonably no. And reasonably the feature the keywords here. So it is the responsibilities, and I mean that means basically the tasks from that side and the tasks from that side. So you can balance that, but yeah, there it is.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Looks like, let's say thank you so much, Roman.
Thank you. I can open it's gonna go. I'm gonna leave the full screen. Let me do one match. So people.
Okay, so it was the last talk for today.
Thank you. Sorry.
Let's give another round of applause to all of our speakers. They are pretty cool with knowledge and insights with us today. Also, with the issues, I would like to ask all of the speakers come to the stage, please. Come on, applause, guys. They're sharing the information for me with you. So we have some mirroring. It's for you guys. Thank you for joining our conference and making all of us the being more smart and bigger, of course.
It's mirrored here.
Thank you.
Why? I don't know. In the morning, I see like.
Thank you, guys.
When I
press it.
Turn around for me.
Do we get a photo?
For them.
I think should have one.
Anyway, where's no? So
You switch on the lights. So,
all the lights. All the lights. No?
Any other options for lights? Okay. Why are you so sad?
Let's.
Because of the speaker, yes. Understand. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. We also would like to say thanks for for all of you who were staying here and asking questions and provide us so amazing, environment. Thanks a lot. And of course, we didn't forget about the best questions. For the first speech, we would like to award the authors of the questions about facial recognition. There was a guy already.
No.
Okay.
That's what
And another question about the co-working stuff.
I think Alexander asked me sometimes.
Please come to the stage.
I told him if
Applause.
there's no problem. If someone is me that in that thing,
Those photos.
can arrange.
For the second speech, the questions that were chosen is the first one is the first 35 questions about infrastructure and other stuff, and the another question about the Terraform. It's also the double winner. Please come to the stage again, guys.
Someone needs to drive them around. Or me to be here. No, I mean, yes, because she's gonna do all the driving. That's why. You're right about that.
Okay. For the third one, we would like to give presents for the question about the losing of key. Yes, we have triple winner over here. Yes, okay, let's do it after me. Believe us, we will give him a gift. And another one is for the GDPR question. I was called in the soccer when they are doing kids know. And for the Rust talk, yes, but what are the winners? Okay, we will tell about that a bit later, guys. Sorry. Okay, that's it. Then, thank you. And at the end of our evening, the official part, of course, we would like to ask you to provide some feedback. Can you please turn on the next slide? Otherwise, the feedback will go to Roman. Here is the QR code. You can scan it and provide any feedback you would like to, but please avoid feedback about the microphone and about the clicker. Really appreciate it. So you have time to scan it. We still have some food to eat. We still have some drinks to drink. And that's it for today. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to see you on our user events of the Behind the Code by the Exness. That's it. Thank you. Imagine funny music over here.
I'm not the one, my best friend. Question, please.
I think that you need to put here Eminem, something like that. I'm just happy it's finished. I'm just happy it's finished. You see, I think I want to get the bad feedback from that to the microphone. Back, microphone. Well, I'm just happy it's finished. So where the sound comes.